Hi, friends from Facebook and YouTube. My name is Jesse Varela. I'm here in Remax Avenues. I have the privilege today to interview my Realtor friend, Kim Stephens. Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So today we're going to talk about how can you take advantage of Kim's experience as an investor when you work with her. Okay, so tell us, Kim, about your real estate career.
I got my license 13 years ago and am lucky enough to be a full-time realtor now. I've gotten a couple designations to better serve my clients. One is a certified residential specialist and a certified negotiation expert. I've also won a few awards along my career for production. Roundtable of Excellence is one of them, and a couple awards at the office for top volume. And then lastly, for 5 years running, I've had the privilege of being nominated by my clients for the 5280 magazine 5-star.
And what is that? What is the 5280 magazine?
So previous clients vote on my past performance and experience level and their experience through the transaction, and they vote on a number of different items on a scale of 1 through 5, and you have to basically score a certain number of points in order to be nominated by multiple clients in order to get awarded the award.
Nice. So we're going to start with the first question. Tell us about your personal experience as a real estate investor.
Well, I've done about 5 flips in the past 7 years. Basically, the areas that I've invested in are Burns Brentwood, which is in West Denver. I've also invested in Inglewood and North Park Hill and Five Points.
Okay.
And then I basically, once the business picked up to be too busy to do both, I had to put the flipping houses aside to pursue just a full-time real estate career.
Perfect. So the next question is, how has your investment and renovation experience helped buyers who are shopping for a home? How can you help them? If somebody's thinking about, I want to start with my first investment, how can Kim help me?
Well, I think I've got some unique insight. As an investor, I'm really familiar with how much different things will cost from an investment standpoint. So when we walk into a house and, for example, a client says, I like this property, I'd like to remodel the kitchen and remodel the bathroom, maybe put in a new furnace, refinish the hardwood floors. Because of my experience flipping houses, I've got a really detailed knowledge of how much those things are going to cost. So I'm able to help evaluate that for my clients so that they can determine if they've got enough cash flow to both purchase the property and then do the renovations before they actually put money and time and effort into writing an offer and doing inspections and all that kind of stuff.
Perfect. Next question. In this competitive market, how can you help the buyer find something to invest? You can help them, but how can you help them?
Well, it's definitely a competitive market right now, and it's challenging to find a good deal. One strategy that I like to employ is to look for how long a property's been on the market. The least amount of time that it's been on the market, the more competitive the bidding situation is. So if it's been on the market for a while, those are the ones that tend to have a little bit more success rate in being able to get more of a deal on it. And then in those situations, an owner-occupant actually has an advantage in those situations because if they're going to move into it and live in the property for a year or two and put in sweat equity, they stand a better chance of actually being profitable than an investor is going to pay their contractors to come in and do the work. So the profit margins are going to shrink. So really what I've found is my clients that are willing to move into the house, stay there for a couple of years, they not only earn sweat equity, but they also can avoid capital gains tax.
Perfect. And then when you help them buy the house, how can you help them then sell in the house? The same person?
So
for a maximum profit, right?
right. So a lot of the things that I do when I go in on the listing presentation side, I'll set some expectations right up front with them about what I'll do when I walk the house. I'll look for basically the perks of the house, the good attributes. I'll make a list to help sell the house, and I'll also look for opportunities to better stage it, better fine-tune things so that it'll show well, and give them a range of prices so that I'll say that it can possibly sell from this range to this range depending on how many of my suggestions you'd like to do. I don't ever dictate you've got to do this, you've got to do that, but if you're willing to do this, then you stand a better chance to get top value. Most clients are pretty receptive to that, and they're willing to go ahead and put in the effort to properly stage it, declutter it, do everything they have to do to get top dollar for it.
Okay, next question. What mistakes have you seen when the investor doesn't use a realtor like you and start buying houses without experience?
A couple of things. One of the biggest mistakes has to do with not using the right comparables when they purchase, and then not using the right comparables when they turn around to sell it. So if they're not looking at the right numbers on their purchase, they may end up overpaying for a price.
Like the sold prices, because sometimes they go online and they look at it and say, oh, this house, the house next to mine is gonna...
That's correct. Yeah, it takes a trained expert to know exactly what comps best suit a particular purchase. So a lot of times they end up overbuying. And then when they go to sell, if they're not using proper comps, they may think that it can sell for this much, but actually based on that amount of square footage and the number of upgrades they did, actually it should be right here. So they overprice it, and then they're not able to get that price. Or they misprice it and then it doesn't appraise correctly. And then the second mistake that I see a lot of investors make is that they either they put money into renovations and remodel items that aren't really relevant to most buyers. So some buyers don't really care about it and they end up wasting money. And then there are other things that they overlook that are really important for buyers. And as a professional, I've worked with hundreds of buyers. So I have a unique insight, as well as all of us realtors do, as to what actually a buyer is looking for, what's important and what's not important, so that we can offer that information to these investors so they can use their money wisely in the investment decision.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Kim. What is your phone number?
My number is 720-273-2699. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.